What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today it's time to show you another really good Digimon deck. Now, the lovely folks over at Ensan Gaming, and you know I'm a huge fan of Ensan Gaming, have gone and shown us the results of the JT Game Store Discord tournament. Now, the winner was actually Lars playing Lord Nightmon. And we like Lord Nightmon, I showed you it the other day. It's quite a different list to the one I showed you a couple of days ago, but it's literally been a couple of days since I showed you a Lord Nightmon deck. So instead today we're going to focus on the first runner-up, which was JY playing Omega Grey. And basically what we've got here is a big red aggro Omegamon deck, or Omnimon as we would call it over here. And this looks like what these decks might look like moving forward. So let's have a look, and we'll start off as we tend to do here with the DIGITAMA. We don't actually have a 4-1 split here like we would usually get. We've just got 4 of one particular red DIGITAMA, and here we are talking the Koromon that came around in BT5, i.e. the new one. But of course this is the one that says if this Digimon's name contains Greymon or Omnimon, you draw a card when you attack. Well, I've already told you it's an Omnimon deck, and certainly we got enough new tricks in BT5 to suggest this is the kind of way we should probably be building these decks, so it makes sense. The reason you wouldn't put an extra random one of DIGITAMA, even though you could, is to basically make sure that even though you've only got 4 DIGITAMA total, it means that you are getting the one that you want. You are essentially always making sure you've got this one, because this is the one that you're actually looking to use here. Now, in terms of level 3, I'm going to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it is a little bit of an Agumon fest. There is a lot of Agumon here. Now, we do get the new Agumon from BT5, and this is something you probably should have seen coming, right? Because the Agumon from BT5 has got a really nice skill that helps specifically these kind of decks. When you play it, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you add a Digimon with Greymon in its name and a Digimon with Omnimon in its name from among them to your hand. And bearing in mind, right, in every card game, I cover a bunch of card games over this channel and PTCG Radio, my main Pokemon channel, and the one thing we see in every card game is consistency wins. So I've just shown you 2 cards, and one of them helps to search out in some respect your cards, the other one gives you a bit of a draw engine. Straight off the bat we're drawing cards and getting rolling. Now, we do have 3 of the Agumon that actually originally came around in the starter deck here, which is really kind of awesome. We don't see that all that much anymore. It gives you an extra 1,000 power on your turn. Clearly, this is a very cool thing. We like having extra power. This is good. But then we've got a couple of other Agumon. We have got the Agumon that actually came around as a box topper promo. But it's got an inheritable skill whereby if this Digimon's name contains Greymon, you get an extra 2,000 power. So you're not going to play this in every single red deck, but when you've got a red deck which is all built around Greymon as this one is, then yeah, this becomes a really good option. We also see a couple copies of the other promo Greymon, the one that actually came around in Booster 0.0, which we almost never see in decks. It's a 5 cost, and when you play, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 power or less. This is fun. It's a lot of memory, and it almost never sees any play, but you know what? Nice. Oh yeah, and weirdly, that's still not all the different Agumon we've got. We've also got a couple copies of the Agumon from Booster 1.0 that when you play it, you reveal the top 5 cards of your deck, add a Tamer among them, and put it into your hand. And we are playing some really good Tamers here. We'll get there in a moment. For anyone keeping count, yes, that is 5 different Agumon in one deck. And I am all over it. If you like Agumon, this is definitely the deck for you. Now, moving over into level 4s, we do have a brand new level 4 that came around in the most recent set. It is Monochromon, and it's a blocker that costs 1 to Digivolve, and it really is as simple as that. You're only paying 1 memory to Digivolve, and you've got blocker. Yeah, sure, you lose 2 memory when you attack, blah, 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 that stuff happens. We don't really care. It's a 1-cost Digivolve blocker. We're seeing these in all the colours. They came in a second run of starter decks, and then for the colours that didn't get a starter deck in the second run, they just started popping up in other decks, you know, in sets normally, I should say. But they're amazing, and you're going to see a huge amount of these moving forward. And then it's a little bit of a Greymon show. Yeah, we got lots of Agumon. So if we got a lot of Agumon, we might as well have a bunch of Greymon as well. Starting off with the Greymon from the starter deck that gives you an extra security attack. An extra security attack is good. It means that you get to go after an extra security card. But bearing in mind, we know we're building up to super powerful Omnimon here. We know we've got other cards which are boosting our power above, even beyond other Omnimon. So if you're pretty much guaranteed to survive attack and a security, sure would be nice to have some extra security attack. Now, we do have 4 of a different Greymon coming in here, because, you know, be rude if we only had 1 different type of Greymon now, wouldn't it? It's the one that actually came around, shockingly enough, in BT5, because again, it's giving you a specific advantage if you're playing this specific kind of deck. It's got a skill, well, it's got a couple of skills. When you Digivolve, if it's got Agumon in its Digivolution cards, you gain a memory, and bearing in mind I showed you, the only level 3s we're playing are Agumon. Incidentally, that's why we're playing some Agumon that look a little bit less optimal. You know, things like the Promo Agumon, the very, very first Digimon card, Promo 001. Yeah, fine, okay. It's not exactly a particularly amazing card that sees a huge amount of play, but there are times it's going to be really fun, but even if it's not really fun, you just Digivolve it into Greymon and then you get this skill and you're fine. It essentially turns it into a 1-cost Digivolve, and that is a very, very good thing. It's also got an inheritable skill whereby while this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, this Digimon gains an extra 2,000 power. We've already seen a bunch of cards that will boost your power. We have seen the Agumon that gives you an extra 1,000 power, or the Agumon that gives you an extra 2,000 power to Greymon. Now we've got this as well. Your power is going to be building up very, very fast here. And I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, JY here has gone very, very, very thematic here, because in the same way that the level 3s were all Agumon, the level 4s, well, 8 out of 11 were Greymon, which I think is close enough. If we take a look at the level 5s, it is a full-on Metal Greymon party. Now, obviously, we do have the new Metal Greymon that came around in BT5. You should be expecting that, because again, it's specifically built for a deck exactly like this. When you Digivolve, if this Digimon has a Digivolution card with Metal Greymon in its name, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 4,000 power or less. Now, you can actually Digivolve it from a level 4 or a level 5, but again, level 5 you're paying 1 memory, so if you Digivolve, say, a Metal Greymon into this, and remember it must be a Metal Greymon, not a Greymon, then you're basically evolving for 1 memory and deleting one of your opponent's Digimon. That's a great thing, but it's also got that same inheritable skill as Greymon, whereby if this Digimon has Greymon or Omnimon in its name, you gain 2,000 power. This is a very, very good thing, ladies and gentlemen. A very, very good thing indeed. You are just building up to be a super powerful deck here, but because you are playing, you know, all Metal Greymon essentially, that's going to make it so much easier to actually fire off this Digivolution skill. We do see a couple of the secret rare Metal Greymon coming in here. This is the one, I mean, it's actually quite nice as an attacker, but it is, shall we say, a little bit awkward. So what we've got here is security attack +2, but you've got to lose 5 memory to use it, and 9,000 power isn't huge. But if you start beefing up your power with the other cards that we've seen, then you can get up to much higher power with security attack +2, and if you're taking out 3 security cards, you aren't going to mind giving up 5 memory to do so. But also it's got an inheritable skill that gives the Digimon that's evolved from it an extra 3,000 power, and this is clearly a deck that likes boosting up power. This will work nicely. And then we've got a couple of the regular Metal Greymon that came around in the starter deck. No secret rare, but you know, still a starter deck Greymon, still pretty gosh darn good. And we've seen this one around a few times. Essentially, it's just got an inheritable skill here that when you're blocked, you gain free memory. So if your opponent does come around trying to block you, which frankly would be a little bit rude, you're okay because you're gaining some memory. You're making your opponent pay for having the audacity to block you. You're building up into these big Digimon. You don't want to be blocked. If your opponent does block you, you'll make them pay. Now, moving up into level 6s, it has to be War Greymon, right? With everything I've shown you in the deck so far, it would be frankly a little bit silly if it wasn't War Greymon. So we do have a couple of the red War Greymon that came around in Booster 1.0. This is the one that's got a lovely Digivolution skill that gets you security attack +1 for the turn. And on your turn, every time you attack the stack, security skills on option cards that would activate actually don't activate, which can stop your opponent with some of their tricks. We've then also got the War Greymon that actually just came around in BT5, the brand new one. And again, this is a deck which is built, you know, we see all these new, hey, please make a Greymon / Omnimon deck. This is basically a very good early draft of that kind of deck. So the new War Greymon, when you Digivolve, if you've got a Digivolution card with Greymon in its name, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with Blocker. That's quite nice. Stop them blocking you in their face. And when you're attacking, you delete one of your opponent's Digimon with 3,000 power or less. So essentially you build up, and then every time you attack, and it's an inheritable skill, right? So it's got to be a level 7 that uses this. But when you're attacking with your level 7, which generally means you're in a pretty good position anyway, you also get to be deleting one of your opponent's littler Digimon. That sounds pretty gosh darn good to me. Now, in terms of the level 7s, we do actually have just one of the Omnimon here that came around in BT1. And if you've been playing this game in English, right, you'll have seen a lot of this card. When you Digivolve, you get to delete all of your opponent's Digimon that share a particular name of your choosing, and when you attack, you can unsuspend by putting a level 6 from under it into your hand. It's a very good card. But generally here, what we actually tend to see is the new Omnimon, the one that came around in BT5. And I know we got like 1 billion Omnimon, but this is just Omnimon. Not Omnimon this, that, or the other one. Just ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill Omnimon. Although when I show you the full deck list in a minute, you're going to see 3 different artworks, and even then, that's not really trying all that much, because there are, in fact, 5 different artworks, and you literally can only play 4 of them in the same deck anyway. Hey-ho. But this new Omnimon is a very good card. When you Digivolve, you've got Blitz or Advance. It means you can attack even if your Digivolving should have put the turn over to your opponent. You get to attack before the turn passes. You've got a Digivolution skill that unsuspends it, which is kind of nuts as well. And on everybody's turn, when this Digimon would be deleted or returned to the hand or deck by your opponent's effect, you can trash one level 6 Digivolution card from under it to prevent that happening. Sounds pretty good to me, eh? In terms of Tamer cards, we do have a couple from the new set, which really do help you out. We do have 4 copies of Nokia Shiramine here, and this isn't the art that's making people play this card, it's the fact that in this kind of deck, it's awesome. When you play it, you may play an Agumon from your hand without paying its memory cost. You know how I told you the promo Agumon was a 5 cost and we rarely wanted to play it because it was a bit expensive? Well, I've been kind of sitting on this for the whole video, my apologies. If you play this, you're playing a 3-cost Tamer that lets you play that 5-cost Agumon for free and get the really nice skill. Yeah, in decks playing Nokia, you are going to want to be playing this promo Agumon, which incidentally goes back to a point I've made many times before. Stop looking at cards and saying they're bad. Almost any card is one new card being released away from being amazing. That Agumon has been out since literally, it was a very, very first card. And yet now this new Tamer's gone and made it playable in a way it's never been. But you've also got a rather lovely skill here. When you Digivolve your Digimon into a Digimon with Greymon or Omnimon in its name, you may suspend the Tamer to reduce the cost by 1. Yeah, clearly this is ridiculous. And yes, if you've got multiple out, you can use multiple for the same Digivolution. So this is a little bit dumb. If you're playing this kind of deck, it's an absolute given. We've then got a couple of copies of Tai Kamiya and Matt Ashida. At the start of your turn, if your opponent's got a level 6 or higher Digimon, you gain 2 memory. And on your turn, all of your Digimon with Omnimon in their name gain security attack +1. So clearly this is going to be a very nice card for this particular deck. And remember, the Agumon from BT1 helps you to search out these Tamers. You're playing 6 Tamers. If you play that Agumon as a free cost, there is a decent chance you're going to go and hit one of these Tamers. There's really nice synergy going on. Oh yeah, and then option card, we got a couple copies of Gaia Force. It's an 8 cost card, which is super expensive, but it lets you delete any Digimon. And then, of course, if it comes out as a security card, it lets you delete any Digimon without actually paying any memory. It's a little bit over the top, ridiculous, dumb good. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Congratulations to Ty for winning, or TY. I'm not exactly sure which way it's supposed to be pronounced. Thank you to Ensign Gaming for sharing the list. You are going to be seeing this deck a lot in the BT5 format. It's one of those decks where you look at the spoilers of BT5, you look at the set list and go, yeah, that's going to happen. And you know what? It is going to happen. But now, ladies and gentlemen, I want to know what you think about this deck. I want to know what you would change, what you would do. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts. Me nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Digimon and a bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts, all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.